She was an old woman with an almost empty shop. They were three homeless triplet boys with nothing but hunger and hope. When she fed them, she never imagined this one small act of kindness would change her life forever. Years later, 3 Lamborghinis stopped in front of her tiny shop. And what happened next made an entire town stand still. Everyone in the town of Briarwood knew the tiny grocery shop on Willow Street. It was barely wider than a bus, squeezed between a closed tailor store and a cracked brick wall painted with peeling advertisements from decades ago. The wooden sign above the door read, "Marta's Corner Store." The letters were faded, but the bell above the door still rang sweetly every time someone entered. The shop belonged to Marta Alvarez, a 72-year-old widow with silver hair always tied neatly in a bun and eyes that carried both sadness and warmth. Marta had lived in Briarwood her entire life. She had raised her only son there, buried her husband there, and now, she worked every day behind the counter of this tiny shop. Marta didn't own much. A narrow bed behind the shop, one kettle, one radio that crackled more than it played. But what she did have was a habit that made people whisper. "She gives too much," some said. "She'll go hungry one day," others warned. Marta only smiled, because she believed, deep in her bones, that kindness was never wasted. Every evening just before closing, Marta noticed them. 3 small boys. They always stayed near the dumpster behind her shop, pretending to look for cans. Their clothes were too thin for the cold. Their shoes were worn down to the soles. And though they tried to act tough, hunger betrayed them every time. The smallest one, no more than 6, held onto the older boy's jacket like it was a lifeline. Marta watched them quietly for weeks. She saw how they shared scraps equally, how the oldest counted bites, how the middle one always gave his piece to the smallest. One night, as Marta locked the door, she heard a soft voice. "Ma'am, excuse me." He turned. The tallest boy stood there, nervously rubbing his hands together. "We don't want money," he said quickly. We were wondering if maybe you had some bread that was too old." Marta felt her chest tighten. She unlocked the door again without a word. That night Marta made soup. Not leftover soup. Not scraps. She set out 3 bowls, steaming and full, with bread still warm from the oven. The boys stared like they didn't trust their eyes. "For us?" the middle one asked. "For you," Marta said gently. "All of you." The smallest boy burst into tears. They ate slowly, carefully, as if afraid the food might disappear. Marta sat with them, pretending to sip her tea so they wouldn't feel watched. When they finished, the tallest boy stood up straight. "My name is Daniel," he said. "I'm Lucas," said the middle one. The smallest wiped his face. "I'm Mateo. We're triplets," Daniel added. "Our mom died last year." Marta reached across the table and held Mateo's tiny hand. "You can come every evening," she said. "As long as this shop is open." The boys looked at each other in disbelief. That night, 3 hungry children went to sleep with full stomachs, for the first time in weeks. Word spread quickly. "Marta's feeding street kids now. She's inviting trouble. Someone should call social services." A neighbor, Mr. Collins, confronted her one morning. "You can't save everyone," he warned. "They'll take advantage of you." Marta simply nodded. But that evening she still set out 3 bowls. She learned their story slowly. Their mother, Elena, had worked 2 jobs until illness took her. Their father had left years before. They had bounced between shelters until the system failed them. Marta didn't ask questions about the past. She focused on the present. Homework at the counter. Clean clothes folded behind the shop. Bandaged knees. Stories before bedtime. Her tiny shop became something else. Became home. One rainy afternoon, a black car stopped outside the shop. 2 social workers stepped out. Marta's heart sank. The boys clung to her, terrified. "We'll take care of them," one worker said kindly. "They'll go to foster care." Mateo screamed. Lucas begged. Daniel stood still, too still. Marta hugged them tightly. "Wherever you go," she whispered, Remember this, you are loved. Daniel looked up at her with tears in his eyes. I'll come back, he promised. One day. I swear. Car drove away. That night, Marta locked the shop and cried until morning. Years passed. Briarwood changed. Stores closed. Buildings rose. People came and went. But Marta's shop remained. Smaller now. Quieter. Some nights she still set out 3 bowls by habit, then quietly put them away. She wondered if the boys were safe. If they remembered her. If her kindness had mattered at all. Her hands grew weaker. Her steps slower. Yet every morning she unlocked the shop. Because that's what she knew how to do. One autumn afternoon, Willow Street went quiet. Engines purred low, powerful. People stepped out of shops, staring. 3 Lamborghinis, sleek and shining, rolled slowly down the street and stopped directly in front of Marta's tiny store. Phones came out. Whispers exploded. Who are they? Is this a movie? The doors opened. 3 men stepped out. Confident. Well-dressed. And then, Marta dropped the jar in her hands. 'Cause she recognized them. Hello, Mama Marta, the tallest man said softly. Her knees gave out. Daniel knelt in front of her. Lucas stood beside him, smiling through tears. Matteo, no longer small, wrapped her in a hug. You remembered, Marta whispered. How could we forget? Lucas said. They told her everything. The foster family who took them in. The teacher who noticed their talent. The nights they studied by flashlight, remembering soup and bread. They built a business together. Failed. Tried again. Succeeded beyond imagination. We promised each other, Matteo said, that if we ever made it, we'd come back. Daniel held her hands. You fed us when no one else did. The next morning the town gathered. Daniel spoke first. This shop, he said, is a symbol of kindness. They revealed their gift. The building next door, purchased and renovated. A modern store fully stocked. Marta's name on the sign. Marta's Market and Community Kitchen. There would be free meals. Tutoring. Warmth. For anyone who needs it, Lucas said. Marta cried openly. But most of all, Daniel added, you're not alone anymore. Every evening Marta still made soup. Now volunteers helped. Children laughed. Families gathered. 3 bowls became many. The Lamborghinis were gone, replaced by something quieter. Belonging. And on the wall behind the counter hung a small sign. No act of kindness is ever wasted. Marta touched it every night before closing. Because once, long ago, she fed 3 hungry boys. And the world remembered.